You can add 1 inch to anything. How would you create maximum chaos? I'll add 1 inch to one leg of every chair. You sick bastard. So it'll be a regular school chair? What is wrong with you? Your comment made me think of another thing about height. Let's add an inch under the Tower of Pison and watch the magic that only happens once in a lifetime. Well, it will depend on which side to add 1 inch. 1 inch to tardigrades. They will become 1 inch long and be all over the place. To me, it's just an abomination. My God, it's freaking scary. Hold on, Satan. We can talk about this. Let's take it slow. They'd be like cryptobots from Death Stranding, to the thickness of paper money. Everyone's wallets would suddenly burst. Very funny. I'm broke. LOL, definitely not mine. I'd double the size of my penis. It wouldn't been used anyway. No chaos. Reasonable. I would make every door an inch wider. No door would be able to close. Safes don't close. Car doors don't close. Planes would be forced to be on the ground. Doors mean a lot. It would be maximum chaos. All the air on the space station would have gone out dramatically. Changed. My God, I forgot about all the poor submarine sailors. I drove a washer blazer in which the passenger door wouldn't close. If you tried to close the door, it would immediately open. There was just a broken latch, but it was also a huge pain in the butt until I finally fixed it. I got a little nervous after that comment. LOL, submarine crew. Statistically, there are definitely shitty doors that are just an inch short. That's why they can't close. These people will thank you. 1 extra inch between seats on an airplane. Thank me later. Don't. It's the only way I can get hard. Just add 1 inch to yourself. It's all fun and games, until part of your seat is 1 inch off the plane. Would add an inch to the size of the electrons. That's a win. I had a witty joke, but you ruined physics. Would have added an extra inch to the ruler, but it would have had the same values, just a little more. I wonder who would notice this. It's the best answer. The ruler would now be 16 inches long. Even though it still has old marks on it, I don't think anyone will notice it. Chaos will reign. I would add 1 inch to the width of every stove in the world. Just think, it would be a disaster. Right now, stoves fit perfectly into interiors all over the world. Great, you just destroyed my kitchen. It would be nice. There is just a small gap between my stove and the refrigerator. Would have added an inch to the diameter of the human eye. Discovered an anime lover. Everyone will now just have anime eyes. To the pocket of women's pants. You can't expand something that doesn't exist. That would make you a hero. 1 inch to tiny mites. To the things that are on your body. Imagine just getting up at night because you're hungry. Tears off half or a third of your body and eat it and then just goes back to sleep. Holy shit. Would add an inch to every racial grain. Of course, that doesn't sound like something great. Everyone will have more food. But think about those who just swallowed a mouthful of rice. This crap is pretty funny, literally and figuratively. You're only doing it to spite the people who are eating rice right now. That's some very specific and random target of your chaos. To the tiny butt paws of my kitty. We call them back paws. To the gap in fitting room doors. You're a monster. So now they just half open. Would have added an inch to the length of each coffee table. Everyone would have hit their toes. 1 inch to the random steps of each staircase. If the height of one step is only 2 millimeters less, most people will falter. Sheldon Cooper. An inch to each bag of chips, to make it seem like you bought more than usual, but it would still mostly be in air. An extra inch on ordinary bolts would render machinery, industrial equipment useless, and even lead to catastrophic consequences. A lot of people would die. The first year of my major was basically a short course on how the wrong fastener in the wrong place could kill everyone at the facility as well as your relatives. I was sweating while I was reading it. 1 inch of every pixel of screen, phone, tablet, monitor, TV, etc. on the planet. No! Yeah! I wanted to talk about something like increasing the width of trains, but that electronic dude already won by destroying the universe. Would have added an inch to the English system of measures. States would have collapsed a minute later. 1 inch to the emphasis on skins. Now you can put your fingers in them. I would add 1 inch to 1 second. Einstein would want to talk to you. I would add 1 inch to the length of Trump's nipple. His discomfort would have caused havoc in the world through his tweets. I have the best nipples. Believe me, everyone knows I have the longest awesome nipples. People tell me that all the time. They say, Donald, you have perfect nipples. They're just great. Maybe even the best nipples ever of any president. They're actually the longest. Would add 1 inch to credit card. Good luck trying to swipe a card or read a chip to pay for something. I'd like to add 1 inch to the size of all microorganisms and cells. Boom. Now your blood cells are the size of M&M's candy. The length of all electromagnetic waves. I'm not a scientist and I don't know what will happen, but my guess is that everyone will gone crazy when everything stops working. Would add an inch to the bug. Bullet ant is very huge already. Mankind could die in a war with the ants, haha. Do you have any idea how smart, strong they are? Of course, it won't break the universe like the other very good offerings in this thread, but the most maximum chaos I would like to enjoy would be an opportunity to add 1 inch to the height of Mount Everest. I would like to observe whether some people would be upset by the fact that the mountain got higher and their ascent ended up being on a lower mountain. Would any of them want to be the first person to climb the highest mountain one more time? Mount Everest already changes in elevation by an order of magnitude due to temperature and seismic events. To every left shoe, would add an inch of every 1/100th of an inch of a cat. Now we would have giant kittens roaming everywhere. It would really be chaos. Tiger cubs. Probably would have added an inch to the height of all humans. Clearly, such a change is not enough for chaos, but it would be enough to make all your clothes fit differently on you. You would bump into or trip over everything because you are already used to moving differently. And under the circumstances, it wouldn't be the same because you became bigger. To everyone's pinky toes. Would add an inch to the size of the viruses. Now we have trillions of evil machines trying to eat you alive and make more of the same machines. I think this would actually prevent viruses from spreading, because they would no longer be able to fit inside the victims and would be too big to affect the cells. It would actually tear apart every living organism from the inside. I would add an inch to the diameter of the atom. Better yet, do it to the quarks. The atom would be huge. You have no idea how many bugs there are until they're an inch bigger than they used to be. I would add each one an inch to the width of their anus. I don't even want to know what you're into. I would add 1 inch to the length of each ammunition. Guns would become useless, as the bullets would no longer fit inside. We will have to go back to the Middle Ages for a few months, but with drones and fast ships. While the military-industrial complexes will be busting their asses to make new guns all over the world. I'd add an inch to each foot so that the people would walk strange. To each foot. They will probably walk as usual. Add an inch to each left foot and then chaos will ensue. After all the people will be limping. I would add 1 inch to pears. I love pears. I would add 1 inch to sea level in the hope that it would finally make all people pay attention to global warming. It may not seem like another inch in sea level would change anything, but in fact it fucking would. I'm not that smart, but from what I know, it will probably just cause another global warming scandal. I would probably add 1 inch to the clitoris. It would be fun. Finally, the men would find it. To the pimples. Fuck you. 1 extra inch of every snowflake or raindrop. I hope it helps the environment. My friend, you just caused massive flooding everywhere near the equator. I'm Asian. So, to my dick. Would add an inch to my IQ. Awesome. My friend, you need more than 1 inch. Now you have 1 IQ. If you added an inch to plank length, everything would be bigger. And if added to sperm, I'd think twice before jerking off. If everything in the universe got much bigger, would anyone notice any change? I would add 1 inch to each person's middle toe. For some, it would just be a minor inconvenience. For others, a big problem. Now everyone would need individual shoes for the odd long toe. And knowing people, it seems to me that many would be too insecure to talk about their problem. Until eventually, the medical community would wonder why people suddenly grew middle toes. And everyone would start discussing this news. No one would get an answer. They'll be talking about it for weeks on the news. People would think it is some kind of pandemic that somehow affected the whole world. It would be the most harmless chaos I can imagine. For some people, the food fetish would have changed. There would have been early toe shortening surgery or something like that. Socks would still be socks. These shoes that weird people wear, where each toe is separate, they would have changed. People would probably have balance problems. That would be interesting. If everyone would need new shoes, they would already be mass-produced, not individualized. I would add an inch to each tongue. You just have to imagine. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments, you can write what would you like to add 1 inch to. How will you create maximum chaos, huh? Oh, and don't forget to check out our other cool episodes. That's it. Bye-bye.